goes into making their fabrics.
Might have been a marketing piece.
Right, exactly right. And I'm not sure this was ever reproduced for modern use. Something else that was happening in the 18th century, the hot air balloon was invented by a Frenchman. In fact, the Frenchman was also a very good friend. These two brothers, I can't think of their names right now, but they were also very good friends of the engraver. So the engraver made this design and other designs to commemorate the first flight of a hot air balloon in France. In fact, as I read a historical story about this, there were two balloon raisings. One was not so successful, and the other one, the second raising, was successful, and it took place in the grounds of the wallpaper maker in France, in Paris, and then the balloon actually came down at Versailles, on the grounds of Versailles. That second raising. Again, that was the historical story that I read about it. And this is a good how to show you how a lot of pastoral kind of stories were done, along with the historical stories about, again, this about the hot air balloon rise. This is a little bit later, Paul. This is the famous buildings of Paris. This is about 1840 to 1850, after Napoleon's reign. Again, beautifully done, and a very pretty historic piece of fabric as well. And this one also is about a heroine. This is about Joan of Arc. Again, a French heroine. This is again a very historic fabric. So we have many more of these toiles that tell all kinds of stories. I'll show you some more. Borders were so very important. I'll show you some more border techniques. This is an 18th century border. Now, this actually was done to simulate old stone. What was happening in the 18th century, if you recall your history, the Roman ruins were being dug up at this time in the late 18th century, and all those statues and all that historical architectural work was being reproduced as well in the homes and on China, on anything and everything, because it became the rage, the European rage at the time. And so this was designed as a wall-covering piece. It was designed to simulate an old age stone. Even back at that time, they were faking age to make it look old. This is what we do today. Here's another very elaborate dado border, beautifully done. Again, this is done to simulate carved wood, but then again, colored to simulate gold flaking, gold leafing with color.
So how did they achieve the metallic paint?
Gold leafing. Yeah, they actually use gold leaf.
Added into the color?
No, they use gold leaf by itself.
Applied to the paper?
Yes. So this is another border that was designed to commemorate the Roman findings that they found. These little statuettes were found, and these carvings utilizing the victory leaf were also motifs that were found in all of the diggings out in Rome at the time, in Athens. This is a French border. Again, naturalistic work was still very popular at the time, and this is incorporating architectural work, very refined work. Again, this is getting into the French Regency period. Very refined, beautiful work, along with beautiful color. And this is part of an assembly of design work that would have been in a room. This would have been a the room would have been very, very large, high ceilings, and this would have been the dado border running along the bottom, and there would have been architectural work along the crown molding, and also there probably would have been fill. Now here, I would think probably this color would have been reproduced on paper, along with more of this border to align the room, to finish out the entire room.
Would that be more like a mural?
Well, it's getting into the mural type, isn't it? Yes, it is. And this dates about 1810, 1815, and here's a great example of a block printed wallpaper simulating silk fabric. This is a great piece of artwork, and also along with the gold-leafed architectural work, along to incorporating with the floral motifs, with the simulated gathered silk, very elaborate border.
That'd be like a way to have that,
Well, this would have been along the top of the
like
ceiling.
a.
Yeah, because you see, there's an architectural work here, architectural work above. This would have been imitating the crown molding, and then this would have separated the wall covering from the border.
So what technique was used to make that paper?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What technique would have been used?
This is block printing.
Block print.
Mhm.
Again, that they can get the texture.
It's amazing. Well, again, it's the use of color, and also the technique of now there would have been 20 or 30 blocks of wood cut to create this piece of
And
wallpaper.
layer after layer.
Yes.
It just seems like it would be much more difficult to paint onto the wood block in a way that would result in that, as opposed to, a painter can sit down and do that after many, many layers of colors. It just seems like it would be more difficult.
Well, not necessarily, because using a wood block, many, many images can be printed much faster than they can be painted.
Okay, so this would have been apply one color, apply another color, apply another color, and separate
You don't need a
applications, separate block applications.
Right, that's right.
You can just teach them the block, everything.
I see you want to try that, Carrie.
I
Now,
so want to try that.
now this is a French border that this would have been part of one of the murals. This is a border, but this would have been applied over a mural to simulate a layer. This is all I have of it. Unfortunately, I wish I had the entire example. But again, this is about a 16 or 18 color design. Extremely elaborate, beautiful architectural working here, stonework, and also very, very delicate floral. Very, very nice. Okay, this is coming in, this is getting a little bit later now. And this is the French Empire period. And I have here to show you an example of what would have been used with this very elaborate border. This border would have been placed, again, at the top of the room, a very, very high
Would it really be
ceiling.
that big? Would
Pardon?
it's really that?
Oh yeah, this is an actual border, yes. And this is a panel, a French panel, that would have been utilized, not with this one,
Right.
but with one that would be matched into this particular example. There's a lot of gold leafing. In this particular example, this is a very, very rare panel. This particular artwork is also reversed at the bottom. And there might have been, the same panel might have been used all around the salon, the room, or maybe the same architectural work with different paneling, with different florals might have been used also.
Could you show that to the camera, please?
Sure.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Do you have any idea of what pricing of these different wallpapers?
Wow.
There is not much record of how some of these wallpapers are placed. I'm sure that there are some records available, and I have half a dozen history of wallpaper books that were published by Europeans and also by a couple of American authors. But there wasn't a lot of work published on how they were priced. But I'm sure if I dig hard enough and dig long enough, I could probably find out.
I was just curious.
Because
Special
I'll tell you, some of our patriots, like Washington and Jefferson, did import wallpapers from France and from England. And I would think if those records are still available,
Right.
I would think you could have an idea. You could probably have an idea of what kind of pricing
Right.
were charged for wallpapers at the time.
So a panel like that, was that made of paper, or is there some textiles and fabric in that
Well,
too?
this would have been all paper. Now, this is about 1835, so at this point, the paper making industry now is making papers in volume. At the first part of the 19th century, paper making became a huge industry, not only for wallpaper, but for many, many different kinds of papers as well. So this would have been machine-made paper at the time. Crude machine-made paper, certainly, but still much more refined than the handmade paper from the 18th century. Here's an example of different kinds of borders. Again, I have